going on, guys? It's your boy. Welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to be ranking all of the animated movies that I've seen this year. The year is coming to an end, and I've gone to the point where I don't think I'm going to be able to get to the movie theaters and see any other movies. So I'm going to start ranking like literally everything and anything for the rest of this week. It's probably going to be a bunch of just ranking videos. So today we're going to be ranking specifically animated movies. Quick disclaimer, some of the big ones I haven't seen. I have not seen The Boy and the Heron, and I have not seen the movie Migration. Those are two that came out this month that I haven't seen. And then I want to say that there was another anime one that came out towards the beginning of the year that I have not seen. But that being said, I've seen 9 of the new animated movies that came out this year. Let's talk about them. Alrighty, and coming in dead last place, number 9, we have the movie The Monkey King. This is a Netflix original movie that came out, and I think that this movie has absolutely nothing redeeming about it. I think it's a really bad movie. I think that it has a whole lot of potential. It kind of feels like it would be very similar to the Hercules movie, one of my favorite Disney animated movies of all time, and it's basically that same storyline or whatever, but instead of it being with Greek gods, it is with Asian gods and Asian culture, and there's Buddha, there's a couple of other like omnipotent beings or whatever, and then there's this monkey who is kind of like a demigod, and he loses half of his powers. He doesn't really know he's a demigod, and he finds out, oh well, he can join the gods as long as he defeats 100 something or other. I don't remember what they are. They're like demons or something like that. And he goes on to do that, and the entire time he's doing it very cockily. He's very like egotistical. He makes a bunch of bad jokes, and he is just absolutely miserable character. And the entire movie you're waiting for him to maybe have a character arc, and you know, he gets a female sidekick who's like a regular human being who he can't take with him to the omnipotent world that he's trying to live in. And the entire movie, you're following these two characters that are both pretty miserable characters, and you're hoping that like together they'll learn to, you know, make each other a better person, or they'll, you know, have some form of redeeming qualities. They'll have some arc or something, and they don't at all. It's not great. The only redeeming qualities of this movie is one individual animated sequence when he's killing 100 demons, and it's like hand-painted like animation, and it looks absolutely beautiful, and then there's a song in it that is okay, but other than that, this movie was so unwatchable. Okay, coming in at number 8, we have the movie Wish, Disney's big animated movie that came out this year. That was incredibly lackluster. This was supposed to be a culmination of 100 years of storytelling, and it was supposed to be something that kind of felt derivative of some of their other Disney movies, and I feel like that took that a little too far. The movie Wish has no self-identity. It vaguely feels like Snow White. It vaguely feels like Rapunzel. It vaguely feels like a bunch of different movies that have come out, but it doesn't feel nearly as good as any of those other movies that it reminding you of, and in that feeling just kind of like really makes the movie not work for me. I think that Chris Pine as the main villain works relatively well. There's a couple of songs that are decent, but overall this entire movie feels insanely rushed, and there's just a lot of very massive character plot holes, because they didn't spend any time to actually introduce us to any of the characters. They just had them go across the story and do whatever they need to do for the story to work, and it is a very painful movie. Coming in at number 7, we have another Netflix original. This is a musical called Leo, starring Adam Sandler as a little class pet who's been a class pet for 50 years, and then he finally gets out and he goes on a little adventure, and it's a fun movie. I definitely think that there's a little bit of humor that works here and there for me. I think that the story overall is okay. It's not anything groundbreaking. The animation, once again, not anything groundbreaking. And one thing about this movie that actually does kind of bother me a little bit, it's a musical, and none of the songs really work that well. They all kind of feel out of place, and it's almost like a jump scare that it's a musical. It doesn't feel like it should be a musical, and that's why it's that low on this list. Okay, now coming in at number 6, we are finally getting into the movies on this list that I actually really enjoyed. I went to see this movie with my girlfriend on our like year anniversary of us dating, and I will admit that I might be slightly biased because I enjoyed this movie a lot, and I watched it with her and she enjoyed it a lot. But personally, I thought this movie was pretty good. I think the animation was very base level. I think that the action sequences and stuff that they had in it were very base level. I think that the drama in it, once again, very base level, but some things that worked really well. The brother character was absolutely hilarious. The uncle character was absolutely hilarious. There's a lot of laugh out loud moments in this movie. And then something that I'm going to get a lot of hate for. Last year, the movie Turning Red came out, and everybody loved it. A lot of people were saying it's one of Pixar's best movies. It's a really beautiful film, and I personally hate Turning Red. I think that it's absolutely terrible. I think that it has two very miserable characters, and this movie did a lot of the same things that Turning Red attempted to do, with there being a young girl who's going through her period and them symbolizing the period as something as them turning into like a hideous monster or giant beast and not really knowing how to tame it. And in Turning Red, the mother is very toxic and isn't very supportive at all, whereas in this movie, the mother is insanely supportive, and she helps out Ruby Gillman, and she helps her figure out what it's like being a Kraken and all these different things and how her body's changing, and she's going to start experiencing things that she's not used to, and she's there for her, and she's comforting. And I think it's really, really sweet. And I also like it because there's a lot of generational trauma that's addressed in this movie, and like Turning Red, where there's a little bit of generational trauma, here it actually gets resolved, and I think it works a lot better, and it gives us characters that we really like, because I think Ruby Gillman is a lot more interesting and a lot more likable character than May was, and the mother character in Ruby Gillman, the Teenage Kraken, was significantly better than the mother character in Turning Red. Now, coming in at number 5, this one's kind of crazy because this was the highest grossing animated movie of all time, but we got the Super Mario Brothers movie. Overall, I think that this movie's okay. I think that the plot works relatively well. I think that they took some interesting swings with some of the character decisions. I still think that everything they did with Donkey Kong was really weird. I think the fact that they had little nods at Luigi's Mansion was pretty cool. I like the fact that if you've played pretty much any Nintendo game and you went and saw this movie, you can recognize stuff from the games that you've played, and you would really enjoy it, and it would make you feel like a kid again in some senses, because when I went to see this and the Mario Kart scene came on, I'm like, I know 100% this is just fan service, but it worked. I loved it. I was so happy about it. I was so into it. And I think the fighting sequence at the end of the movie worked really well. I think that Jack Black as Bowser was incredible. But overall, at the end of the day, a lot of the humor was very Illumination humor. It's very for kids, and because of that, there's not as deep of a story. There's a lot of moments in it where Mario doesn't feel like he should be the main character, and he basically becomes the main character just because he is. Like, there's a lot of parts of this movie where it's like, Princess Peach can handle this thing on her own, and she probably should be handling this thing on her own, but because Mario is the main character and he is the name of the movie, they just have him do it, and it feels very off to me. Now, coming in at number 4, these were incredibly hard to rank because I liked every single one of these, but 4th place goes to Pixar's Elementals. Personally, absolutely love this movie. I've said it a couple of times and I will say it again. I think this is the best love story that we've ever gotten in a Pixar movie. I think that Wade and Ember have a really cute connection. I really like their little will they won't they kind of moment that goes on. And I really like the fact that there's a bunch of people dealing with a lot of different things and they don't really connect well because they have these different cultures, and there's kind of like a culture barrier. Culture barrier, and the way that they are able to kind of overcome that barrier is really cool to me, and I really like the fact that they have a very symbolic way of showing these people who are very culturally different but still people at the end of the day, and then they have these things that bring them together. That is really cute, and I really like it, and I love the whole opposites attract aspect of the movie. I think that Ember is a really great character, and I think the way that she is a very hot-headed character who doesn't know how to handle her emotions very well, and she needs to find another person to kind of help her take those emotions that she's never really been able to control and be able to actually mold it into something beautiful, quite metaphorically and literally, because she learns to like mend glass into beautiful things, and she basically becomes aware of the fact that there's more to life than just whatever your set path is. I think that that's one of my favorite things that I like about this movie is it's a great coming of age movie for Ember, and specifically for the fact that she's grown up knowing, hey, this is the family business, this is what I'm going to do when I get older, and it's kind of a self-exploration of that Ember character realizing she doesn't just have to do what her family is telling her she needs to do. She could go on and live her own life, which I love. Coming in at number 3, we have one of my most favorite movies of this year, and I will be rewatching it probably 78 times now that it's on Blu-ray. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem. This movie was a whole lot of fun. I absolutely love a lot of the casting decisions here. I think that this was one of those movies where it's like when it first came out and they were showing the trailers and stuff for it, and they're like, oh, it's starring, you know, this person and that person and this person, and Post Malone's gonna be in it, and Paul Rudd's gonna be in it, and Jackie Chan's in it, and you're like, okay, they're just getting all of these major hotshot celebrities to be in this because, you know, it's gonna, you know, sell more tickets because it has these big name actors and actresses in it. And what I really loved about it is like, that was actually like so wrong. Like you go and you see the movie and you realize some of these like big star actors in it are actually taking it very seriously. Like Paul Rudd in this was incredible. I think that his voice worked incredibly well. Jackie Chan as Splinter was probably like surprisingly one of the best casting decisions ever, and he just has like this beautiful, caring, nurturing tone to him when he's speaking to his kids, and he has like a lot of emotional sequences where Master Splinter is more like Father Splinter in this, and I love that character change. And then also modernizing all of the turtles to kind of turn them into the same like character archetypes but in modern day was just beautiful. I love the fact that Mikey wanted to do improv and he wanted to be, you know, a part of like a drama team, and he wanted to be more outgoing like that. And then we have Donatello, who he's a nerd and he likes anime and he loves listening to K-pop and stuff like that. And it's like the fact that they're able to take these niche characters who've always had like their defining traits are like, this one's a nerd, this one's hot-headed, this one's more outgoing, this one's, you know, the leader of the friend group or whatever, and make those character molds fit in today's society was great. And I absolutely love that. And then on top of that, we have beautiful animation. The way that they animated this movie to feel kind of gross and disgusting because they are creatures who literally live in a sewer is fantastic. And I love the action sequences in this. I love the song selections. No Diggity, and that entire fight sequence with No Diggity will go down, in my opinion, as one of the best action sequences that has came out this entire year. And I absolutely loved this movie. Now, coming in at number 2, our runner-up, we have the movie Nimona. This is one that came out on Netflix, and I absolutely love the story behind everything that happened leading up to it, as well as the movie itself. So before I dive into the movie itself, I'm going to talk about the story behind it. So for people who do not know, this is a movie that came out, I believe, by a company that got bought out by what's it called, Disney. When they bought Fox, they got like this subdivision or whatever of it, and there was this animation studio, and they had this movie, and it was like 70% done or something like that, and they went to, you know, Disney and was like, hey, is it okay if we continue working on this project and we put it out? And Disney basically was like, no, can the project. And like I said, they're 70% done. The entire script was done. The majority of the voice work and stuff was done. They just needed to finish like animation and doing some of the post-production stuff. And once they lost the rights to it or whatever, the people who worked on it and have worked on it for so long kind of went around for like a year and a half trying to find somebody who would produce this movie. And Netflix was like, yeah, sure. And I love that so much because we got, in my opinion, one of the like best sleeper picks for and best animated movies this year, because this movie is animated absolutely beautiful. It feels like a storybook come to life. It is futuristic, but it's about Knights of the Round Table, and I absolutely love this movie. There's like a small village feel, which really feels like, you know, Sir Lancelot and stuff like that. And you take that and then you put it in today's society where there's people who are, you know, live streaming things and they're using social media, and they have such great stories about how you can't just try to be, you know, the best version that people will see of you online or whatever. You actually have to, you know, change who you are on the inside. And I think that that's something that's beautiful about this movie is there's a couple of love stories in it, and both of them kind of show that like it's what's on the inside that really matters. Nimona herself is somebody who is a shapeshifter, and because of that, she is seen as a monster her entire life, and she's always running from society because she doesn't fit in. People treat her like crap, and throughout the story, you kind of learn more and more about her character, and then once you get her actual backstory, which I don't want to spoil in case you haven't seen the movie, go watch it. It made me cry. It was beautiful, and like it's just really, really heartwarming how like it brings a story about how it's what's on the inside that matters, and people will always see you as whatever prejudice that they see you as, and sometimes it's a little harder to change those molds, but when you can, it is a very beautiful thing, and I love this movie a lot. But coming in at number 1, in my opinion, like the best movie that has came out this year, animated, regular movie, doesn't matter, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Absolutely beautiful film. I absolutely loved everything that they did with this movie. I think that the animation is absolutely incredible. I think that Miles' character growth in this is absolutely incredible. I love the fact that this was originally going to be a part 1 and part 2, and they don't have it like most part 1s right now in Hollywood are just half a movie. This feels like its own complete contained story, because first movie was Miles' movie, this movie is more of Gwen's movie, and then the last one's probably going to be kind of a combination and probably more of like a love story of them coming back together or whatever. But I really like the fact that when you're making a sequel, you could either go deeper into the characters and like make more of a like deep movie, or you can go bigger. And this movie decided to do both and fully accomplished both, and it was incredible. Like I said before, the animation's absolutely beautiful. I love the fact that every single different universe they go to is animated differently. I love the way that Spider-Punk is animated completely differently, and his guitar is on a different frame rate than his body, and like stuff like that is just so cool. And then there's times where he's in 2D, there's times he's slightly in 3D, and it's just very, very interesting stuff. I think that all of the voice acting and stuff in this is amazing. Like I said, Spider-Punk, Daniel Kaluuya, by far one of my favorite acting performances this entire year. And I just love the fact that they represent these cultures like absolutely perfectly. Lord and Miller, when they're making this movie, was like, we don't really know what kind of slang these people would use, so they asked the actors who have lived in said areas, and were like, hey, what's something we should probably address about this specific area? And they're like, oh, this is something that's huge. And they let the people who know their cultures write their cultures, which I love so much. This is how we do proper representation in movies. Instead of just like casting somebody as like a diversity hire or whatever, you cast people because you want to tell a cooler story that has more depth. And I think this movie was incredible, and there's a lot to learn from it. I think that overall the story of Gwen kind of learning how to fit in and kind of being able to be a part of a band again is beautiful, because this movie starts with her as a loner, realizing she can't fit in with anybody, realizing that she doesn't deserve to be in a band because she's always pushing away everybody that she loves. And by the end of this movie, her creating her team and making her new band is just so breathtaking and beautiful. And I love this movie to death, and I could probably talk about it for an hour. But that being said, that's going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you guys so much for coming by and checking it out. I love and appreciate you guys so much for watching. If you liked it, feel free to like and subscribe. And I really want to know your guys' list down below. Any animated movies that I missed, please, what's it called? Type them down below and let me know. I know I missed Trolls World Tour, not Trolls World Tour, Trolls Band Together. I am very disappointed about it, because a lot of those songs are actually now on my playlist on Spotify. I'm listening to all the songs, but I haven't seen the movie yet. But yeah. If you guys want to leave your list down below of all the movies that you've seen, all the animated movies, feel free to do so. I love discussing movies, and I love seeing your guys' lists. And that being said, I'm going to head out now. Peace out. Bow, bow, bow.
He wanted me to drop a verse, I did this. We planned a day, then we did this. Wanna be in love with the girls with the kisses. Don't give a damn, I'll rid this. I like this when I run the distance. I run the 5K, you go ballistics. I wanna live within the business. Buy more than what's on the clearances. You're getting big cause I know you're a physicist. I wanna deny this shit, I'm unlimited.